You're in wishworld. Conrad's gone too far, but you know it don't matter anyway. The doctor and Belle have a baby named Poppy. The doctor and Belle have a baby named Poppy. Ain't that rich, girl? Well, if you wonder why, well, this doctor is presenting super gay. Belle can try, but it won't get it too far, get it too far. It's time for the dark fairy tale episode, Wishworld. Unfortunately, the leaks started really cascading, and although I had avoided them up to this point, I got spoiled with some pictures, I gave in to temptation, I read the leaks. And then that other leak came out, and, well, we'll get to that next time. And while I had a lot of trouble wrapping my head around what the leaks had said, I reminded myself that the journey is what matters, not the destination, and I hadn't seen what led up to the reveals and plot twists, so I kept an open mind when I watched this episode. And while my opinion on the season finale will be revealed next time, spoilers, didn't like it, I will try my best not to let my opinion of that episode impact my opinion of this episode, and I'll probably fail at that. Let's get into Conrad's wet dream, Wishworld. In Bavaria, 1865, another hooded woman is out and about because of a baby. But this time, it's to pick one up rather than to drop one off. Except this woman is... the Rani! And she's posing as a midwife to a couple out in the woods that had another kid. And I'm not sure why, after having 6 sons yourselves and coming from a family of 7 brothers, you'd really be this concerned because the midwife is late, but I don't deliver babies, so what the f do I know? The Rani thinks the baby should be named Storm and Stress, which is weird because of its abilities, kisses his head and turns his mother into flowers, his brothers into ducks, and the dad into an owl. I'm guessing this is because the Rani isn't a very good wisher and RTD was thinking about going to the zoo when he wrote this part. Back in London, 2025, the doctor wakes up next to Belinda, like they're married, and they say good morning with a kiss. Somewhere, Rose's frustration in not ever being able to kiss the doctor that she really wanted to kiss leaks out into the atmosphere and for sure won't cause any problems with the doctor's next regeneration. They act like they're in the first episode of WandaVision when fucking Poppy comes in screaming meow until my ears bleed.
Meow, meow. Hello. Meow. Meow. Did you see a cat? Meow.
Is that you wanting a cat?
Meow.
Yeah.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Fuck, shut up! The doctor and Belinda think it's adorable though because Poppy is their baby. Oh, and Conrad is on TV giving us the weather and a story about Doctor Who. Later, the happy family is having breakfast when Poppy breaks a yellow cup because tables don't do that. No big deal, this is a common occurrence here. Just then, Ruby shows up on their doorstep, calls him the doctor, but he is John Smith, and he don't remember her homeless-looking ass anyway. She tells John that Poppy isn't her daughter, and he's like weirdly offended.
Oh my God.
And Belinda gets a little too defensive about who the baby daddy is, if you know what I mean. So she scurries off to call the doubt police, and the doctor kinda remembers her name as Ruby. Oh, and Mel takes Mrs. Flood's place as the old lady neighbor. She's got a magic table too. Also, there's giant fossils stomping around for some reason that doesn't really make any sense, and a spider-looking bone dome where Conrad broadcasts. The doctor works at UNIT, which is now the Unified National Insurance Team, which now looks like something out of the Time Authority, and Kate seems a little more bitchy, but at least she's trying to run a tight ship for once. Holy shit! The Devil's Cord Marydew is here to give the doctor coffee, and I wonder how Conrad could wish Susan Triad back into a Marydew from the 1960s with such pristine accuracy when he wasn't there or even born yet. But no time for that. The doctor's heterosexuality slips a bit when he's talking to Ibrahim by calling him beautiful, which triggers so many gay alarms that the doctor is only able to put them out with another table cup drop. Meanwhile, Belinda can't remember giving birth to Poppy and fucks off into the forest to scream either because she's starting to doubt her reality or because of the price of yellow cups. The doctor wonders about the not flood Rani as she flies by on Loki's speeder, and here you don't wonder about that sort of thing, so everyone looks at him weird for it. For a second, I think I'm watching the latest attempt to bring the Power Rangers back when the Rani flies into the Bone Dome. There, she brings Conrad a pork sandwich and checks on her rejected Dune designs that are getting 9s. 9s at this time of day! Flood bitches about being the Rani's go-fetch girl and visits Conrad to calm his ass down since he's so worn out from all the wishing, and they both check on creepy-ass Wish Biscuit, who is always smiling and laughs like one of the Pantheon gods. Yes, again, Baby Wish Kisses is actually Desiderium, the god of wishes, and yes, he's creepy. Red Rani takes the doohickey thing and puts it on a clock, and Flood hints around that she's older and kind of like the Red Rani's mom, but the Red Rani dismisses this. This seems to be a way for them to set up an eventual rebellion from being the servant, but if you guessed that like I did, you would have been wrong. Turns out, Red Rani and Flood are looking for the one who is lost, which is very much not to be confused with the one who waits from the last finale. Ruby and Jammy hook up. Jammy's been pretty homeless as a disabled person. Turns out all the disabled people never get sick or need medicine, but they're also homeless and forgotten about because Conrad's such a shithead that he can't even think of what to do with them. So they've started considering a rebellion, and because Ruby is special, she started to remember the old world and knows she hates Conrad, and she got the thought police called on her. Snitches get stitches, Carla. Anyway, she joins the Island of Lost Toys. Back at John Smith's house, Susan Foreman, the doctor's granddaughter, flashes on the TV screen. But then, so does Rogue. See, Rogue's trapped in some kind of dimension that I could recreate with my level of editing skills, and he uses this opportunity to tell the doctor that tables don't do that, and he loves him. John Smith uses sleepy time to break cups with tables, and tries to convince Belinda of his discovery, but she calls the doubt police to take his ass away the second that she sniffs gay. Snitches get stitches, Belinda. Flood shows up and goes ahead and arrests Belinda too because her mom reported her due to her earlier doubt. Y'all better spool up the thread because I'm about to open up some wounds on some motherfuckers. Team Jammy shows Ruby their big plan is an iPad that they don't know how to use. Sorry, that's not altogether true. Jammy figured out how to turn it on. Ruby wants to just look Conrad in the eye because her memories are all jumbled and she thinks she hates him, but she also remembers being turned on by him, so she seems conflicted. They bring Belinda and the doctor over to some weird-looking threshold that the episode tries to be real tense about, but the explanation is kinda dumb. Belinda is real sorry about the whole calling the doubt police thing. You know, because it ended up biting her in the ass too, and the doctor forgives her. They go and meet the Rani, who immediately starts showing the doctor Time Lord and alien trying to get him to remember, and tells Belinda, and this is kind of important both to the original ending and the reshot ending, that she does not have a child. But this is interrupted because the doctor starts remembering all the stuff. For some reason, there's a disco ball in the bone room, and the Red Rani starts to dance with the doctor, implies they f***ed, and makes him remember who he is. She starts to explain her plan by showing the doctor our genie in a swaddle. You see, she was able to take this little baby's wish power, harness it, and expand it with the doohickey thing that the doctor went out and tried to hook the earth with during the whole season. Look, I could wax on for close to 10 minutes about how having the Vindicator be part of the thing that she needs to boost the power to create Conrad's wish creates a fucking paradox, because how did you get it the first time when the doctor and Belinda had to travel to this exact moment that his doubt blew up the world for you to use that said Vindicator? But f*** it, RTD doesn't care about that kind of logic, so neither do I. Anyway, Conrad wished this world into existence. The Rani is now going to use the doubt of the whole world and the Doctor to crack open the fabric of reality and release Omega. She takes him outside on the balcony, the world's all cray, and he finally remembers everything. For some reason that we may explore later, puts the fugitive Doctor out of order, and then gets his ass locked outside. The Rani blows up the balcony for the Doctor to fall into the abyss. Belinda gets thrown across the threshold, and all our friends are gonna die. And the Doctor screams that he does have a daughter, and her name is Poppy, as he falls to his doom. The end. Let's just get right into the shortest ever things that I liked. I think I liked whatever they were trying to go for here. I think they fully half-assed it. I like the idea of exploring Conrad's utopia as a dark fairy tale and what guys like him might hope for, but I feel like this may not be really what it would be like. I like that they're saying Conrad is such a dum-dum that these people are just forgotten. But I mean, they still don't need medicine, and they don't seem hungry. And the episode never really gives you that big aha moment that you need to feel it, and it just kind of comes off as half-assed. I feel like the Conrad we actually got to know might have had a different type of fairy tale utopia. I know you would have had to tone something like that way down if you had gone a different way with it, but your point may have gotten across better if it was based on the Conrad you already showed us. This was sort of interesting, but it didn't really exactly land right. So, yeah. Buckle up. Things I didn't like. Everyone seemed to like the new Rani and the lady that played her, so I figure I'm gonna have to be the dick here and say that the new Rani was shit. No knock on the actress, she played what was written and played it perfectly. Yes, I know the original Rani was over the top, but here's the thing. I didn't give much of a fuck about her either. She was funny, but from a storyline perspective, and I know all of you are going to throw down your phones in anger here, she has never been much more to me than a female master from the olden days. Yes, I know they even had the master in her original episodes so that you could show the differences, but to me, it was the first multi-master story. They're pretty much the same f***ing person. Just because you change what their end goal motivation is doesn't change the fact that they act the exact same and employ the same methods to get to their goal. Well, guess what, guys? If you had switched the Rani with Missy, not only do you get a better episode, not much change is required on the script. Look, this is my review, and I've never cared about the Rani much more than laughing every time some new mystery box woman shows up. Everyone starts predicting it's her. So if she's your thing, cool, but I just need her to be something a little bit more than maniacal and campy because we already have that. I don't like at all what you did to Conrad. I don't understand who he is and why he acts the way that he does here. The last time we saw Conrad, he was cranky AF about the Doctor. He stood up to this ancient being and told him to get off his world. He was ruthless in how he tricked Ruby and reckless in trying to take down Unit. The last thing that he was in that episode was meek. Hey, I get it. If you left me in a room with some creepy smiling baby genie, made me read Doctor Who books to a camera all day, trapped me in a bone dome, and was visited by old ladies with sandwiches, it would probably change my outlook too. But this is a TV show, not reality, and if you're going to fundamentally change this villain from cunning and crazy to a meek lapdog, we sorta need to see it. He bitches about trying to keep the wish together in his head, and I get how that would make someone pretty distracted, but maybe a little of what made Conrad the villain you wanted to bring back would have been nice. A little edge. This guy just stands there in a jacket that looks a little too big for him, looking like he's ready for a night of dancing on his Caribbean vacation, whining about having to read stories and not being able to see the red Rani. I liked the asshole Conrad better. So, really? Another Pantheon god? Jesus, can we not just have aliens anymore? Like, I don't know, aliens that are able to grant wishes, but they're meant for a galaxy that's pure in spirit, so the Doctor has to rescue it and take it home or some Like, I kinda miss that brand of bad Doctor Who, where everything is some alien, but it's probably misunderstood, and the Doctor's hair gets all fussed because we as humans want to misuse everything. I'm tired of the gods because you suck at writing them. Including the next episode, there have been 21 total RTD2 era episodes, and in 7 of them, there is a Pantheon god. That is 33% of the time. And maybe that's fine when they win a few and you barely escape, but you've dispatched each and every one of them pretty simply, what with a game of catch, a musical note, the dog leash, and lots of light. And now you throw a smiling baby my way and I'm supposed to jump out of my seat in excitement? And while this one is creepy, I sure am not worried about what a seemingly human child with superpowers is going to be able to accomplish that the immortal game god in his alternative dimension and puppet army couldn't do. My concern for the Doctor fighting another Pantheon god sort of went out the door when he defeated the mother and father of them all by taking it out for a walk. And then you drop Omega on me like I'm supposed to be more worried about him coming back than I am a fucking god. The last time we saw Omega, he didn't even have a body. All he could do was rock this pimp fit, and my friends, he indeed ate that shit up. But why am I more worried about a Time Lord that went full antimatter than I am a universal god? And why do all of them feel like less than a threat than the Midnight Entity from the well? Why the f*** did you have to get a Rogue cameo in when you clearly understood having Susan talk to her grandfather here would have made more of an impact to the story? You think the Doctor's 2-hour crush is better from a story perspective to help him in his greatest time of need than his own granddaughter who has recently been showing up in visions and has done this very thing to him already? You understand how f***ing dumb it is to have this guy that flirted with him for a couple of hours be the one to help him doubt more rather than his own granddaughter? And maybe I am thinking about this all wrong, and the Rani is the one who set up this bridge for the teams meeting between the Rogue and the Doctor because she wants the Doctor to start doubting more. But then how the f*** did she know about Rogue to begin with and how to find him when the Doctor doesn't? I don't like it when the story has to bend itself to the guest star. I get that having Jonathan Groff on the show when he was just nominated for a Tony could give you a viewership bump, but I don't like that you sacrifice story logic to do it. Things I didn't understand. I don't understand why Conrad needs to keep the wish together. We've seen this giggle gin grant wishes with his forehead kisses already. Remember the dad owl and the kid ducks? Yeah, nobody needed to strain like they were on the toilet just to keep that wish together. If Conrad wished the world to be like this, it should just be like that. I get the doubt breaking the wish, fine, that still works. But I feel like you could have used Conrad as an enforcer like you do Flood later, but maybe with a little more to do, and the episode gets better. Locking him up in the Bone Dome is sure, but he's on your side. You don't need to keep him under control. Maybe if you let him take his aggression out as the military dictator, he has a bit more motivation to keep the wish together. I just find it weird that you set up this villain to be at least mildly interesting and worth a second and third appearance, and then kept him in a box the whole time. Wait. Well, that might be a recurring theme. I mean, I kinda like the Doubt Police, but why do you have one? The Rani's plan overall is to create this wishworld, which is a compromised reality. She wants to fracture reality and release Omega, but to do that, she needs doubt power. Now, typical doubt is powerful enough in this reality to make tables have trouble holding cups, but the Doctor's doubt would shatter reality. So why have Doubt Police? Who gives a shit whether or not people doubt this reality or not? You need the Doctor to doubt, and everyone doubting around him is gonna make him doubt more. The only thing I can think of is because the Rani needs to go find the Vindicator and then everything will be ready for doubting, but the Vindicator was in the TARDIS and you live there now. How did you lose the Vindicator when it was already in the TARDIS? Because you were seen going out to get it and not flying around in its labyrinth of rooms. Just FYI, that explosion was inward, not outward. I'm sorry, why does Rogue use his one chance to talk to the Doctor as a riddle? Like, I don't understand why RTD writes this way. Okay, never mind that it is never explained how he is able to contact the Doctor or why the dimension he went to looks like a zoom filter. Maybe he kissed the Wish Baby somehow, and this is how he was able to accomplish it. I don't know. But, bro, if you want the Doctor to wake up from Conrad's wish, maybe you could have just said, hey, you know those yellow cups? Yeah, tables are supposed to hold those. So when they don't, it proves this reality is wrong. Okay, love you, bye! Instead of, tables don't do that. That's a riddle. I mean, you're pretty lucky that he takes this as a challenge instead of blaming it on the whiskey, or better yet, give this bastard some coordinates on where the hell you are so that he can come and get you when he does wake up and fix this world. Because as you say this hell dimension is sliding into the pit, and you don't know if you're gonna survive, and they are coming. It sounds like you got bigger problems than reminding this married doctor that doesn't remember that you love him right now. I don't understand why they call Omega the first Time Lord. He's not. That's been established. In fact, all he ever did was figure out time travel and get locked in the antimatter zone. I don't know, I'll talk about him next week, but Omega means last, not first. That's Alpha, if you're going by the Greek alphabet or standard Christian interpretations. Well, crap, this one should have been in Nitpick Corner! What the fuck is this wish for at the beginning with the baby? Rani, you had just wished for the family to become the beginnings of a zoo and had stole baby wishes a lot. So what are you doing? Are you doing what my brain thinks you're doing? Are you wishing yourself back to 2025? Because you have a time ring, which is how I assume you got here in the first place. You know what? Maybe she has the right idea. I've seen how Tom Baker and his crew had to travel with that thing, and I wouldn't want to play Ring Around the Space Rosies with this creepy smiling baby either. Why does Ruby look like a hobo from the 1980s? I get that because she went through that weird thing in 73 Yards, lived an entire life in an alternate dimension or something, and now has fairy dust remnants on her or whatever, and that's how she's able to have these memories and break out of Conrad's wish perfect life or whatever. But why do you look so different from everyone else? Look, I'm not knocking your fashion, and I know the last time we saw you, you were rocking denim like your only reference for style was a 2002 Justin Timberlake Google search image. But at least try to fit in. Nobody else has that hairstyle or wears these clothes, so everyone is probably going to ostracize you because people be shitty, and especially in a world wished up by Conrad. You look like walking doubt, dum-dum, and you sort of remember kissing Conrad, so it probably stands to reason he might have a keen interest in you, so maybe blend in a little bit more. Jesus, is this how we would all look in the 1950s, like we slept in a train car? Holy shit, this iPad Jamie brings to the party. How exactly are you gonna bring down a god with your iPad that you only have a vague idea may work on the video feed in the Bone Palace? Your wheelchair buddy literally says it's like magic when Jamie paws at it like a caveman to turn it on. You guys stare at it like it's the first time you've ever seen fire, deduce that Conrad is broadcasting from up there, and you think you can somehow use this magic skinny box with pictures to block the signal? I appreciate your optimism here. Your vague familiarity with what a big iPhone can do is gonna do fuck all to help you figure out how to shut down a broadcast. That's if this thing even has the capability to do that. For all we know, it's connected to the Wi-Fi up in the unit building and just connected to the local TV station. It doesn't matter anyway. just burns to the ground, so this whole thing was pointless. Guys, this episode was the start of something really bad. I compared Doctor Who when the season started to the start of the season for sports fans. When it starts, we're all so optimistic. Well, here's the thing. We just got our asses handed to us the week before the championship game, and our star player is out on injured reserve. It would have taken a miracle to save this one. Spoilers for next time, that didn't happen, and it was so bad, it was nearly unholy. The Legend of Ruby Sunday was a fun episode because they matched the kind of reveal that was built up during the episode. It was followed by one hell of a dud, but at least that setup was kind of fun. That can't be said here. They had a chance. The Conrad reality and the Doctor being married in an environment wished for by a maniac sounds pretty cool. Playing on heteronormal relationships and making this homosexual Doctor participate in that is a special kind of evil. Having something to say about who Conrad actually is and what happens if he gets his way sounds like it's right up this era of Doctor Who's alley, but it never really says anything other than people don't like it. You fumbled the Susan stuff, and we'll get into the endings, both the one we got and the one they made but didn't air next time. You made Rogue's cameo look completely copy and pasted over the Doctor's conversation with his granddaughter. The Rani stuff was campy but doesn't go anywhere, and you seem to think that bringing these Pantheon gods and Omega together will make this incredible ending to this really fun season, but you didn't think about the fact that you overstuffed the shit out of this episode. Doctor Who was supposed to be in a reset mode, and you give me Sutek and Omega? This episode was terrible. But standing on its own without the hindsight of what is to come, it wasn't quite Space Babies terrible. I give Wishworld a 3. I promise I will rail on Poppy next time. So we're coming up to the end, and I expect next time this will either be an hour-long episode or I'm going to need to split up the review and the season review separately. After that, we're going to review a classic episode, and maybe we'll have a few surprises in store for you. Subscribe, like the video, and comment. I can tell that we're gonna be friends. And as always, either you die salty, or you live long enough to become the ham. Hey kids! You know what's cool?
Pokemon, Pokemon, you suck.
Mystery Box Poppy! That's right, kids! Mystery Box Poppy is cool! From Doctor Who toy makers, the creators of those sonic screwdrivers you buy that sometimes make a vague noise that sounds a bit like the TV show and has screws so tiny you'll never change the battery and f***ing TARDIS everything, comes your new favorite toy, Mystery Box Poppy! Mystery Box Poppy will look great sitting on your shelf collecting dust with the rest of your Doctor Who memorabilia because it's not very practical either. You'll occasionally see Mystery Box Poppy out of the corner of your eye and wonder aloud,
Who is she? Why is she important? Why was Poppy in Mystery Box Poppy? Is she a human in Time Wars? Why does she keep saying the Doctor's scanning something? Is she even real? Why should I even give a shit about? Does anything mean anything anymore? And what is my place in this world?
Mystery Box Poppy! Mystery Box Poppy comes with a high chair that could actually be a TARDIS. I mean, who knows, right? And a random tiny sonic screwdriver that matches nothing in the episode for you to scratch your head about, but does not include answers about who this stupid-ass kid actually is. Get your Mystery Box Poppy today!